Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the You Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
And we are back doing our Khandaan podcast wrap-up 2020 episode. I don't even know if we need to call it the best of, because there's not much that was the best. We're just basically wrapping it up and, letting it go. We're joined by top friend Beth. Hey, top friend Beth.
Hello, top friends.
Thanks for sticking with us. We've already recorded quite a bit, and so I think we're all running out of steam. But let's get on it now. I have first a question to ask of you guys. So, are we in a pandemic because there was no Khan movie release, or is there no Khan movie release because there's a pandemic? Like, which of the two situations is it?
I feel like there has been a lot of Khan content, however. Like, Salman has embarked on a new journey as a recording artist. Shah Rukh is constantly auditioning to be our cool dad. Amir, I think it has turned into a dwarf and is like mining for gold somewhere out of sight.
In Turkey, somewhere in Turkey.
He's obviously been working on the vaccine. That's what Jesus Amir would do.
That is true. He's out saving the world.
Yeah, it's. I think we've been basically working more on Khan stuff than they have. And definitely
Salman would disagree.
I mean, he's been through a journey, man. Like, this year has been rough for the guy. Like you can really see it. He did release at least a teaser of a movie, which is more than all the other Khans did, which is super cool of him.
Shah Rukh mentioned something in his New Year greetings. He mentioned something about shooting for a film, which is what everyone is, hanging their hopes on. I have to say, like, the pandemic has probably benefited Shah Rukh the most, because I feel like throughout the year, people have discovered how much they love Shah Rukh compared to like either of the other Khans. People are just so much nicer about Shah Rukh than they are about any of the other Khans. It's been wild to me,
But I think that's never been Shah Rukh's problem. Shah Rukh's problem is going to start when the movie comes out. Because it's probably going to be terrible. Yeah. That's the problem.
Everybody loves me, but why don't you go watch my movie?
Because they suck.
Go and it's... Yeah, they suck. Like, that's the problem. Like, he's working on something and it's going to end up being disappointed, unfortunately. So I think that's kind of the problem. He's always been a great speaker.
What was the last Shah Rukh movie even? Was it Zero?
Zero.
Yeah, Zero.
Wow. That was end of the year 2018.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah. The correlation is strong with this one.
Yeah. So interesting year. So let's start. Let's start with this. What have you, I wanted to ask you guys, what have you learned through living through this 2020? Did you have some general thoughts, any resolutions you've made, any things that you said, oh, this is a life change I want to do next year. Anything like that you guys have, like any wisdom that you can impart on our listeners? Because I do feel we're like, elder statesmen of podcasting and, content creating and writing. There's a lot of young listeners listening to us, and we should, provide them some guidance in the, the life ahead. Beth, any learnings, any resolutions for after 2020, 2021?
Yeah. So mine are, they're two, but they're related. One is don't trust the algorithm, which is meaning, there's an ocean of stuff out there, but whatever you subscribe to is going to serve you particular things and not deliberately obscure other things from you necessarily, but they're just going to be lost. So go looking. In my case, for example, on Netflix, just click on Hindi language movies and you're going to find more, and Hindi language TV, you're going to find more than you knew was there probably. My other one is similar, which is I've got to pay more attention to film music, and I would love to have advice on the best way to do that. And maybe if anyone knows of a great, YouTube channel or Spotify account that, puts out new releases, well, I will subscribe to it. I just need to get myself paying more attention, because whenever you ask, favorite song of the year, I'm like, oh, I can't name you anything without going to look. And obviously this year is weird, but that's been true for the last couple of years. And the film songs I turn to are all well over 5 years old when I want to listen to filmy songs. Yeah. So I need some help in that area, and I will do my best to help myself.
I actually have the same problem with music. Like, music has just fell off my radar a little bit. Bollywood was the one that I was kind of holding on to for the longest time. But I think in the last year, because it's been such a weird year, I've not listened to that much. But non-Bollywood stuff, I've really fallen off of stiff. I don't know who Billie Eilish is and all these other people. These new
Billie Eilish.
Is it Billie Eilish? I don't even know how you pronounce her name. And there's a lot of wrap-up, videos going on YouTube, and I don't know any of these people. I have no clue. So I try to I'm lucky because I have a younger nephew who's really into music now. So he sends me stuff, but I'm such an old grump. I don't like any of the things. I'm like, this is shit. You should go back to listen to this instead. So,
and a lot of the new stuff that is in fashion, in Vogue or whatever is being streamed a lot. A lot of it sounds very much like a throwback to cooler stuff that has already been, that has already happened in the 70s and the 80s. The Weeknd song, Blinding Lights, that came out this year. It feels like it should be set in the Stranger Things TV show, because it sounds like that,
But I think that was happening with our music, but we just didn't realize it. Our music was reminiscent of the 60s and the 70s, and we didn't realize it. All of grunge was basically 60s, 70s, right? Which we grew up in. So I think that's just kind of cyclical. But Sujoy, man, what have you learned? What are your resolutions?
I don't know. Unlike Beth, my sort of learnings are from not from the entertainment area of 2020, I suppose. I'm just realizing how much single-use plastic I use over the year, and I'm trying to reduce that. That's
a good one. That's a good one.
It's just because I'm always home and I'm always consuming, I get to see how much single-use plastic I use, and I want to reduce that in some way or the other, and maybe try to find a solution for how we can reduce it overall. But yeah, that's a thought for 2021. That's a really good one.
Yeah. That's a really good one, man. Amrita, drop some knowledge on us.
I think this past year, I realized how little I need to survive, I don't need half the things that I thought were integral to my life. So that was one thing. The other thing that I learned was that I really, really, really like my life, my non-pandemic life, in which I get to travel, I get to try new things, I get to meet my friends, I get to meet new people, I get to have conversations with strangers, I get to just, I didn't think twice about getting on various forms of transport, there have been days in my life where I start the morning by getting into a car, then I take a plane, then I'll get off and take a ferry, and then I'll take a bus, and then I'll get to wherever it is that I'm getting. So I don't think twice about any of those things. Like, these are not big things or ideas for me, like travel is not a big idea for me. And now that I'm stuck in this room, and literally, for those of you who are listening, I literally spend 90% of my days within this room, and I have a bed, and if I lie on the bed in one position, I'm podcasting. Another position, I'm working. Another position, I'm recording for my YouTube. Another position, I'm reading. Another position, I'm sleeping. Like, it's literally everything is happening on this one bed. And that has really brought home to me how much I treasure participating in the world, and how important that is to me and to my mental health, my view of myself.
That's a good one. For me, I didn't have many new learnings, I feel. I did kind of get reinforced in a few ideas that I've been having. And so one of the things is, and this is kind of a general thing, like, people are stupid and people are evil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's just kind of a general sentiment I wanted to throw in there. Like, this has been, like, in the last 4 years, I've been kind of like more and more being, this has kind of been bubbling up. And I think 2020 is really, and especially what's been going on politically, and also just you go outside and you see how people are reacting. And I just like, either you're stupid or you're selfish or you're just plain evil. And either you fall into one of these three categories. And I don't care that much for people anymore. And I think this is kind of what leads me to my other kind of point, is that in a way, because the world has become smaller for everybody, I think I've actively made my circle of concern smaller. I've started caring about less things, but the things and the people I care about, I try to care more about them. So even the three people with me on this podcast, I feel a lot more love for you guys than necessarily I used to before. Not that I didn't, but you are my circle. I love you guys, like, purely. And I think on and off I have expressed that also actively throughout the year. I think I've vocally expressed that because I feel it's important, and I've been doing that on the show. I've been doing that with you, and I've been also doing that with my friends. I've been getting in touch. I've been sending things. I've been all of these little things.
So on the record, Asim cooked biryani and sent biryani. He hand delivered it to my door. Not only biryani, he brought Ambala sweets as well. I am forever in gratitude for that.
I'm just glad I pulled it off, the biryani. That was the thing. But this is, and I think I'm going to be continuing that. I think this has been my learning, that the people that are in my circle, I really love them and I want to see them soon. All of them. I've even Beth. Like, I think so much of the cakes we were having together. I was thinking about like our chat at the BFI, and like when I was joking with Amrita, like, Amrita, come to London and I'll make you biryani. But then I started thinking how cool it would be if Amrita came back to London. I would hire a podcast studio. We would do a live show. We'd cook together. And I feel like when she was in London, I felt I didn't take enough advantage of it, and those realizations kind of come up.
Yeah.
The other thing I've also noticed is that I've become more kind of self-centered in a lot of things. And I feel it's important because I feel that's where the world is kind of going
it's
towards.
very essential for your own sanity that you need to take care of yourself and your inner circle more, because the world out there doesn't give a about you. Nobody cares. They're out for you. It is man eat man, whatever, dog eat dog.
Yeah. So the other thing for me has also been like about the me thing. It's really been about fitness and food this year. And I think that's another thing I'll be continuing. And I'm following Salman Khan's advice is like, khao kam hilo zada. And I think I've been so, I've been like always...
For Beth, that translates to eat less and shake more.
Which, it's working for Salman and it's honestly been working for me too. I've really changed the way I eat, like my relationship to food. I've been running, which I've never done. I've started running like an idiot on the street in public, which I feel like an idiot doing it, but I'm doing it and I'm actually enjoying it. And it's just because I couldn't do the things that I usually do. I usually go work out with really heavy weights in the gym, and I couldn't because A, wasn't safe, and secondly, it was getting closed. So I had to kind of like reevaluate the things I was doing, and also just being in lockdown, I just couldn't eat what I used to eat because it just was not good for me. And it was, and I just want to say that. And I was seeing both things on the internet. Either you lean into, just eating whatever you want because it's bringing you joy. And I'm totally on board with that. Do what makes you happy and do what makes you survive this pandemic. Once it's over, you can, roam around the cities and do again and, get back to your former self. And the other where people took the time to, get fit. And I've fallen into that category and I'm enjoying it, So those are the kind of learnings that I will be continuing next year. So, yeah,
Asim,
that's for me.
I want to say that I really appreciate how loving you've been and like how vulnerable you've been, like it's not something that happens that often with friends that you make later in life, I feel. And then it's been just like a blessing, like, like Beth and I, obviously we go back like nearly 20 years at this point, but so that's a little bit different. But with you and Sujoy, just, just having you guys, just and spending all this time with you guys, and then having honesty in our relationship, like that's really, and also like when you find somebody who shares your sense of humor, it's not like we have the same opinions about everything, but it's been like such a blessing to just have you guys in my life. And it sounds really sappy, so I don't often say it, but I feel like since we're being really honest on this show, I can say it.
Yeah.
Like, I could never have put those into those words, You know how I feel about you, Asim, so let's keep it that.
No, I really, because I think sometimes people forget that, we don't, I think I know Beth the longest.
Yeah.
I think Beth has been the linchpin for all of us in a way.
She's the Kevin Bacon.
I have my whole life been told that I would be the social director on the Love Boat, so.
So I think people sometimes would not realize that we don't go that far, me and, Amrita or me and Sujoy, right? Like but it feels so, everything works magically, and like this friendship, more than the show, has been such a, a treasure, and I treasure it. And that's why I express it, And again, like I can be the bhai and I can make, offhanded jokes, but the people I love, I really, really love. And I want to, express that as much as I can. So, I can be sappy. I can do both. I'm good with that.
And as a listener, mostly, like when you have a new episode out, I'm so happy to hear it. I haven't seen some of the movies you're talking about. It doesn't matter because I love just, a conversation that is interesting and funny and warm and genuine. And you talk about current events a little bit, but for me, like that's the right amount when I'm, not deliberately looking for the news. And like, I so appreciate having interesting and warm words in my life, coming in my ears. And then the fact that they're voiced by friends is even better. But, I really appreciate content creators these days too. And I know, there's a lot of terrible content out there for sure, but a lot of people are trying really hard to do what they can to be something nice. And that is not the only thing we all need to do, but it is a thing we all need to do. And I really appreciate that you do it and you put it out there for the rest of us.
Oh.
And I think, I feel a lot of the guests that we have on, sometimes it'll be one-offs or sometimes it'll be a really kind of, well-known guests. So we have limited time. But then there's guests like, that I almost feel they're part of the family, like you are, Beth, like we get you on quite regularly because you are one of us, and I think that's kind of...
Just get the British Museum to hire me and I'll be there and I can be on the live show too. So I kind of like, appreciated that take the time and you talk with us, but you are then also listening to the show when you're not on there. So it's kind of like, it's really cool. I think the name is apt for our show. I feel it really is a Khandaan, and I think I really appreciate that. And I appreciate our listeners. And even, I would love to even hear about people that listen to us but don't agree with our point of views, because we are vocal in our political views or, our views about societies, about movies. I always appreciate it. So, drop us a line at youpodcasting@gmail.com. I think we've had enough sappiness because it's making Sujoy uncomfortable. I can feel it from here on the side of the mic.
What the hell? I cried at Soul. I cried during Tamasha, so that's how sappy I am.
Let's make fun of Bollywood. Let's do that. Let's start our wholly original Best of the Year Khandaan Awards that I've stolen from other places. For people that haven't listened to the show before, we have some unique categories that we do, and then we'll kind of get into our top fives. So we'll give a few explanations about some categories. Some are self-explanatory, so I don't think we need to get too deep into that. We'll just go round robin, and then what we can do is when we go into our movies, our top categories, like top fives, let's name all of our four but not name our top one, right? Does that work?
Yeah.
And then we can discuss our top ones.
I feel like you're being entirely too optimistic. I don't know about other people, but definitely about me. But, let's see. Let's see what I can come up with.
We had a private chat about this and Asim was very, confused. Sujoy, did you have a winner or have you given us all the names and stuff like that? And I was like, in 2020, there is no winner.
There's only losers,
including us.
Yeah, and Amrita, you're not telling me anything new. I did read your list. I did see it, so I know where this is going.
Yeah.
So let's start with our special category. The first one is the We Didn't Get It Award. These are shows or movies that were praised either critically or by the public that didn't work for us. I'll go first. Mine was Cargo. It's popping up on a lot of best of lists. It was even on Anupama Baji's list. And which I'm just gonna call her Anupama Baji until she comes on the show. This is gonna be is gonna be the joke for 2021. I like the premise of it, and even when we reviewed it back in whatever episode we did, I feel it's a movie people should watch, but I didn't necessarily enjoy watching it that much. And even at the end of the year, I feel the praise is a bit too much. But that's my category on it. Beth, do you have the We Didn't Get It award?
No, I don't. I didn't think that far ahead.
Who has one? Let's go this way. Who has one? Does anybody?
I have one. I have
do,
one.
Okay.
Actually.
Go ahead, Amrita.
The Netflix one, the Tamil anthology, Pava Kadagal, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
I don't understand the concept. Why would you make something that's that depressing? I don't know who's the audience for this. Let us look at the worst things that happen in society in 2020, which is the worst year of society. And, we're literally living in a fascist state. The world is on fire. Everyone is diseased. We can't leave our homes. What is the point of this entire exercise? I don't understand.
Yeah, I was having a similar discussion with a friend of ours, and they were recommending this movie, and I was like, "Why would I watch this? I'm already on board. Life for Women is terrible. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do about it?
But also, all the people that are involved in this anthology also made that other anthology for Prime that was actually like fun and nice. So I'm like, why wouldn't I just watch the one on Prime? Why would I watch this one?
All right. It's the same people. I didn't know it was the same people involved in it. Okay. So Joy, what did you have for the We Didn't Get It award?
Gulabo Sitabo.
Ooh.
A lot of praise about, Shujit Sarkar and what it represents. Ayushmann Khurrana, Amitabh Bachchan, all the big names associated with it, Vijay Raz and everybody else. But I just did not get it.
Yeah. Good one. Yeah, good one. Beth, did those a couple of minutes give you a chance to think about something like that? Or
I don't think I really saw enough things to have hit upon something super overrated. I've seen some things from other years that I caught up and I was like, ugh, but nothing from this year. But maybe in the next couple months I'll finally catch all the way up and be disappointed.
They didn't get it award. Shows or movies that we loved or enjoyed, but they kind of died and went away. Did anybody have a thought about that? Shall I go first, maybe?
Yeah, go for it.
I have two here. I had... no, actually, do I have two or three?
Wow.
I've got... let's go with three. I'll go quickly. One, Ludo, which I feel I really enjoyed. Nobody else did. But I think we've discussed that with a full review. And Amrita, you also mentioned it, so you didn't get it either. So Ludo is there, but I really enjoyed it.
No, I liked it. I'm saying I understand why other people didn't get it.
Right. Okay. So it fits for your category too then.
Yeah.
I will also add Khali Pili in this again.
Get out, just get out.
I feel I've mentioned this movie way too much, more than it deserves. But I enjoyed this movie. I think it's kind of a fun Bollywood movie, like they used to make back in the day. And Ananya Pandey is terrible in it, but everything else is kind of works for me. And the third also mention I wanted to add was Evil Eye, the Amazon Prime horror movie produced by Priyanka Chopra, which I was just kind of going through the list of the things I watched, and it didn't work completely, but I think it had some nice elements in it. And I think it's died a slow death. Nobody really talks about that movie anymore, right? And I think even people didn't watch it that much, even though it was available on Prime. So those are my three picks. So it's Ludo, Kali Pili, and Evil Eye. So Joy, do you have one of the...
I agree with you on Ludo, I guess, because I really loved Ludo and I see the criticism that it was getting for being too whimsical or weird set in Anurag Basu's universe of whatever. But yeah, that's about it really. I think those who loved Ludo for what it is, and those who didn't are not going to.
Yeah. Yeah. Beth, they didn't get it? Movies that you like?
I loved Ludo. I wasn't aware that people disliked it because apparently my Twitter bubble is hearty. So I would join that. I thought it was fantastic, and I like smart whimsy all of the time, but I especially like it in 2020. So it's great.
I think when I was on the Haroonies, Haroon mentioned that he just felt that both Jagga Jasoos and Barfi had done the same thing better. And I do agree with that. I understand that those would be better movies, but I just felt Ludo was kind of a different take on that Basu universe. And I like when a director has a clear vision that you can see, these are his movies, right? So Ludo is clearly his movies like those other ones were. So yeah. Any other, Beth, that you had?
No, that's good.
No? Amrita?
So again, I'll just add to the consensus and say that Ludo, you're right. I think. But then, it doesn't surprise me also because I feel like with people who have that definite a voice in any kind of media, be it movies or books or music, when you are that separate from what your peers are doing, you are always going to be a sort of lightning rod for controversy and for discourse, basically. So it doesn't surprise me. There were actually, like, I feel like this year Prime put out about 7 million shows. And, like, all of them just disappeared within days. Like, there were a couple that really floated to the surface, like Patal Lok, for example. And I feel like those... Like, the ones that have really succeeded have been, like, really grim. Like Mirzapur and Patal Lok and stuff. But there's, like, a whole
Where's the happy content? Where is the happy content?
So there is actually, like, pretty happy content, but, like, nobody was talking about, like, when Pushpavalli came out, everyone talked about it for, like, 1 week. And then everybody forgot about it, even though she's been winning awards for it and stuff. And then there was this other show called Panchayat, which, again, I've skimmed because I am a terrible human being. But it's about this guy who's, like, sent to this village and he's from the city and he's never been to a village and he doesn't understand anything about it. And it's funny, and it has some really great performances by a great cast of actors. And literally nobody spoke about it. Like, I think a few people spoke about it on the day that it released, and then, like, nothing happened. So yeah, and Chudails, like, I feel like more people spoke about Chudails being banned in Pakistan than about what Chudails was.
Yeah.
And so, like, that was really weird for me as well, because everyone that I know who's seen Chudails really enjoyed it, but the conversation around it, like, I feel like there are so many different conversations that a series like that could spark, even though I haven't seen it. Like, from what I've gleaned from what other people have said, I feel like there are multiple things that people could be discussing, and it just baffles me that people aren't... Well, it doesn't really baffle me because it seems to be a very women-gazy series, and as we have learned over the years, when things are told from the female perspective, nobody's interested. So that doesn't surprise me, sadly. So yeah,
and also it's kind of that kind of in that twilight zone that it's a Pakistani show produced for India, so it's kind of like nobody wants it, like it's the Dhobi ka kutta kind of show, unfortunately. But yeah, I know, I totally get that. I think Bollywood needs like a Schitt's Creek or a Ted Lasso, that's what it needs next year. So, but yeah, let's see if they rip it off or something and take the totally wrong lessons. Let's go to our next category, the most played bop. Like, any song that made you happy, that was kind of like on your playlist, that you listen to a lot. Which is the song that you most listen to? So, Joy, you're the musical guy.
So I've got 3 nominations and a clear winner on this. So I've got, to my embarrassment, I listened to the Badshah remix of Sawan Mein Lag Gayi Aag from Ginny X Honey. Because it's so catchy. It's so damn catchy. It's got the worst lyrics of all time. It goes, "Doodh ubaloge to jhaag lagegi, sawan mein aise nachogi to aag lagegi." It's so terrible, but it's so catchy. The other one is Nachi Nachi from Street Dancer. Amrita knows how amazing that track is.
Oh yeah.
I've been playing that a lot. But the clear winner in this is the TikTok sensation Butta Boma from Ala Vaikuntapuramulu. It's been ruling my world. It's been ruling my world. Like, I've been playing Butta Boma all year.
It's a really good song.
Yeah. I even like the other Ramulo Ramula from the same movie. It's got Tabu and Jairam dancing in there, and it just makes it even funnier.
Dude, you know what? I'm gonna watch this movie tonight.
Yeah,
I've
watch it. Yeah.
Amrita, what was your most played bop?
I am very sad to admit that the soundtrack to Street Dancer 3D has been on repeat. All those terrible songs are like stuck in my head.
I honestly didn't think that Street Dancer would be mentioned as much as it has on this show.
Varun loves this podcast.
I also I feel like I want to make an effort and say that also Dil Bechara was like a soundtrack that I listened to a lot in 2020. But honestly, like the ratio to which I heard Dil Bechara versus Street Dancer is not even close. Like,
Yeah.
I was listening to that all the time. Butta Bama has also been on repeat. And also, and this is very sad, but it's a really great tune. But that Rondu song, Pachtaoge.
From?
It's not from anything. It's just Arjit album, basically.
Okay.
And it's Vicky Kaushal and Nora Fateh in the video. And it's basically like she's cheating on him and she's leaving him, and so he's just like pachtaoge, pachtaoge, and then like he kills himself at the end to make sure that she pachtaos. Okay.
And Nora Fateh is like nachi.
Yeah.
But it's a really great tune. Like I hate to admit it.
Okay. I've got one honorable mention in those, not a bop, but the soundtrack that was most played, obviously, from Ludo, Hardam Hamdam.
Yeah.
Oh, what a song.
Yeah.
Beth,
I heard that in Anil Kapoor's voice. What a song.
Mind-blowing jackass.
Mine is actually not from Hindi cinema at all. I forgot that this was this year that I saw the show Pose. I don't know if any of you have watched Pose. Season 2 of Pose came to Netflix this year. It was on TV in 2019, so this is even later. But the music from Pose, which is set in late 80s, early 90s New York among the drag community, is phenomenal. So people have put together the soundtracks on Spotify. And some of these songs were big in, I was in high school at that time, so I remember a lot of these, but just the range of these amazing artists who are women of color for the most part. Please listen to the Pose. Watch the show, but also listen to the soundtracks on Spotify. They are, you will dance, you will cry, you will be triumphant, you will be a diva. Like, they are all fabulous. And, I had those on a lot this year, partly because my museum didn't exhibit about drag costuming, but also, it's this really well selected, kind of set of things that I remember, and also some that I don't, that are just, good for the soul for me.
Mine, I have two. One is Tare Gin by the Dil Bechara soundtrack. And the second one is, oh my God, now I'm blanking on the name. Kismat Ki Hawa. From Ludo, but originally from Albela, which it just makes me so happy, that song. I've been listening to it the whole time, especially when I'm cooking, probably because that's what he's doing in Albela. But I'm like totally was like, kabhi naram naram, kabhi garam garam, kabhi naram garam. Yeah. Oh, beta ji.
I didn't know that song before Ludo, and I of course immediately went and listened to it a bunch of times. It was a delight.
Yeah.
It's so good, and I just can imagine Pankaj Tripathi, shaking his little head when he's doing it.
And he's watching on the mobile in the car, and he's lip syncing to the song. He's so happy in there.
So good.
My favorite is in the beginning when he's watching it, and then he turns to the rest of the people. And he's like, sing.
Yeah, love it. So that's my two. Worst remix. I think this is a category solely for Bollywood. Like no other awards category in the world would have this. My pick is the Sayoni remix, which is unholy. In everything else it should be burnt. Like it's bad. It's evil incarnate. If people have not heard of it, because it actually even didn't, like, the thing is with remixes, at least they get popular, they get people watching it, but the Sayoni one, people didn't bother, so that's how bad it is. I don't know if you guys have one, if you have a pick here.
I mean, there are so many, like, I think the Mirchi Lagi remix from Coolie Number 1, even though they brought back Kumar Sanu and Halka to sing it, was terrible. I didn't like it. Even though the video was amazing, it looks like it's shot in like some sort of a bubblegum land. There was Divya Khosla's Yaad Piya Ki Aane Lagi. There was the other Sawan Mein Lag Gayi Aag remix from the other movie, Indu Ki Jawani or something. There's so many terrible remixes this year. I mean, they don't deserve any awards.
I think the Sawan Mein Lag Gayi Aag remixes are what like really get me mad, because I remember when that song came out and I was in school. And I hated it so much, and you couldn't escape that freaking song.
Yeah.
Anywhere you went, like you put on TV, you put on the radio, you were walking on the street, you were sitting in the bus, you were at school. It didn't matter. Like that, everybody sang that stupid song, and also like, because it was so nasal, like Mika just like full on his nose.
So what I remember was when Sonu Nigam does a Mika impression, he uses that song and he turns up the nasal up to 11, It's so funny.
But they, like I was dating this guy, and like he would just like, he knew that I hated that song, and he would just like do that, what was it? Sagan mein lag gayi aag dil mera hai. Like he would just do that. And it was like nails on a chalkboard. I hated it so much. And then I couldn't believe that they're actually remixing that shit in like 2020. I was just like, this freaking year, of course they'd come up with that.
Twice.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
Beth, I'm not sure if you have a pick here. Everything is bad, I imagine, right?
Yeah, I have nothing to add that you haven't named.
Let's go with the undeserved hit of the year. I mean, this is a tough category because there's not really been any hits. My pick was Baghi 3, which was a hit, right? And it's undeserved because it's a terrible movie. Although now I feel bad, like, of even mentioning, like, I feel, any success that was, had this year, I don't want to kind of downplay it. So I want to put that in that category because Shraddha Kapoor is terrible. That's my pick. Does anybody have one for this category, or should we?
I didn't watch Tanhaji, so I don't really have anything to say about it. But Tanhaji came out this year. I mean, I don't think I will watch that movie, but it made a shit ton of money. It made like 300 something crores.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did Lakshmi Bomb make money?
I have no idea. I mean, it was a Hotstar release, so it's difficult to say, right?
Yeah, they probably got like a cash load of money from Hotstar. But yeah, he's smart. Akshay is smart about these things, so it's hard to estimate. Let's move on then. What did we have next? The best marketing fail of the year. Anything that you guys could think about? Mine was, and this is controversial, but it is unfortunately and also sad. It's Sushant Singh Rajput's death and how it got played as, and Amrita, you were mentioning, I think, on Twitter today, how it got used and abused by everybody on the right wing in India. And that was just like a terrible 6 months that we had to live through. And now it seems everybody's forgotten it. So I think it's kind of a weird situation. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Like initially I was like thinking if we go international, there has to be Gal Gadot's Imagine song, right?
Boy.
Like that's the...
Yeah.
Like nothing is as bad as that.
So tone deaf in all the respects,
Yeah, we can make this into a category international if you have any other thoughts about it.
We had Salman dressing up as a Sardar and then releasing the teaser during the farmers' protest.
Yeah, that's a really bad one too. True, that's a recent one.
Oh, you know what? I remember Akshay coming out with that app and then everyone saying that he killed Sushant Singh Rajput to get it.
Oh God.
What was that? I still don't understand how that worked, but poor Akshay, kissing the ass of every single right-wing person that he could find, and at the end of the day, their pets came barking for him. That was funny.
I'm remembering.
Beth, do you have any marketing?
I don't know if this quite counts as marketing, although I think given self-promotion, it probably does. I'm just remembering all the people who said very stupid things about Black Lives Matter. Have not remotely examined their own racism, even things they've said publicly. And then, of course, people then being like, okay, well, all lives matter. And you're like, nope. Nope.
Didn't also somebody have elephant lives matter or something like that? I remember that went around too. That's a good one. Next category is best action sequence. There's not really been that many action movies or any kinetic scenes. I think AK vs. AK has a great Motwani is really into chase scenes, isn't he?
Yeah.
The one in AK vs. AK I'm thinking of, but also
Yeah, so mine is from AK vs. AK, but it's not one of the glitzy ones. My favorite is when the two of them are fighting in the lounge.
Right.
Me too!
With the Christmas lights.
I was telling Beth as I was watching it, it's so real because that is how the boys fought when I was younger, no science, nothing, just blind rage and just trying to get contact somewhere, and just at one point, it's sort of like Anil is climbing on top of
It kind of reminded me of Colin Firth and Hugh Grant in Bridget Jones's Diary.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, Anurag is getting out his asthma inhaler. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Beth, yours is the same one?
I wrote that down during the break. Yeah. It's my favorite.
Amazing. Sujoy, what about you?
I have none. Not even Baggy 3D, no.
Yeah.
Baggy
I've
3D.
got one. I've got one, and immediately when I mention it, you're gonna agree with me. It's not from the movie. It's from a show. It's from Tesh. It's the bathroom fight sequence.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's a really good one, and also. It's not visually interesting necessarily, but emotionally, it's when in Churels there's a gang that kind of tries to kind of attack the women, and they've had enough of it, and they just take the mob down. It's amazing. It's an amazing sequence too. So those are the two ones that I had. Then the next category, let's move on. I'm trying to be a bit quick. I'll skip the next one because I don't find that one interesting. I had Social Media Clout Award, but I don't even know what that means. I just put in Katrina Kaif because I like Katrina Kaif and there was no reason to put her there. But yeah.
I would say the whole Diljit Dosanjh versus Kangana.
Oh yeah!
Oh, right. Which leads me to my next category, Worst Person of the Year award, which goes to Kangana Ranaut in my book.
Yeah.
Could not be anyone else.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, there are worse people out there, for sure.
Right.
But yeah,
But yeah, you need to really go into fascists and dictators then, like in the celebrity world.
Yeah.
I think she's one of the worst.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And she had a lot of hits this year too, right? So yeah. Movies or show that we were most annoyed that we missed watching. Mine is Scam 1992. I've not watched it. I still can't watch it. Everybody's talking about it. I might need to illegally download it at this point. So for me, that was Scam 1992. I've still not watched that show, unfortunately. Beth, any show that you kind of missed watching and you're like, damn, I wished I squeezed that in before the end of the year?
So I don't even know when this released. I've seen it on a 2020 list. I've seen it on other years as well. But the film Sir, I cannot find that streaming anywhere, and I would really like to see it.
Yeah, it's on a lot of best of lists too, right? Sir?
It sounds great.
And there's another movie that did the festival rounds in 2019. It's supposedly got a limited theatrical release in India. It's not available to stream right now. It's called Ib Ale Oo. It's been doing the best of the year lists on a lot of people's lists. So I would like to watch that as well. But yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and watch, I guess.
I'm also thinking maybe that was part of the live screeners that we didn't get around to. If I'm not, it sounded familiar when I was hearing about it. So we'll have to check with that. I'm not sure. Amrita, you missed everything, so you didn't watch anything.
But
what's the top one you missed out?
I think I'm still I should. I'm gonna watch them eventually. But Arya is the one that I really wanted to watch, and I didn't get around to it before the end of the year. And also Churels, that was the other one that I wanted to watch before the end of the year.
You still haven't watched Churels, Amrita. What are you doing?
I've really liked Sushmita Sen's interviews about Arya and just kind of how happy she feels with the praise because it's been a while for her, and I just like that vibe of her. I'm happy that something has worked for her, so which is cool. Let's move on to the other more filmy categories. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but let's just go category and just say what we feel about it, right? Let's do best lead actress. Mine is the same as Beth. So Beth, which one did you pick?
Tripti Dimri from Bulbul.
Yes.
Yeah, best performance for me. And you rewatched Bulbul, right? And you were mentioning what was I thinking, and I wanted to ask you on the show what did you mean when you said what was I thinking?
Because I watched that in, was it June or July, and I'm having permanence problems. Like if it's not in front of me, I've forgotten it happened. So I'd completely. I mean, I remember Bulbul came out this year, but I had forgotten how much I loved it. And I went back and re-listened to our episode about it because you kindly had me on to your show to talk about it. And I was like, oh yeah, what was I thinking forgetting this film? So I rewatched it last night. And I forget which of you was saying watching something in one fell swoop is really hard right now. I just sat down on the couch and I watched it all straight through. And and yes, it's shorter than a lot of films, but I haven't done that in so long, and I was completely gripped by it, even though I knew what was going to happen. And I just loved it all over again. And Awesome, it was a lot of your comments on the podcast episode that really made me want to go back and rewatch it. And I would suggest others do the same.
Bulbul is such a beautiful movie and visually so lush, you know. I still think about the imagery of that movie. It's so good. Sujoy, what was your kind of favorite lead performance by a female this year?
I think we have already named her Kangana as the worst person of the year, but I don't know. I find it hard to separate her off-screen and on-screen presence, but she did give out a knockout performance in Panga. It was one of the few movies that I watched in the cinema this year, and I'm glad that I watched it because I think this, when you watch it on an OTT, probably sort of kind of feels like samey, but I don't know why I really connected with her role. She plays the role of a mother who gave up, some sort of an ambition, but she's coming up onto her own of realizing what she wants out of her life. And she, I think, she plays a national level, wrestling champion, and she goes back into it, and she's really, really awesome in this. Sorry, not a wrestling champion, a kabaddi player, and she is really, really good in it. And also, I would like to shout out Tapsi Pannu in Thappar.
Yeah.
That was an amazing performance. Although, having said that, I do want to rewatch Bulbul a lot more than either of Panga or Thappar.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think, and I think it's also like, Tripti's character and the movie, she can do a lot more where, Thappad is a much more of a subdued kind of performance. So that's why it maybe speaks less. But I think the work she put in was kind of amazing.
It's so internalized, Thappad's role, and it's kind of us investing in that character, whereas Tripti's Bulbul role is so much, external, I guess, imagery that you sort of look and appreciate.
Yeah. Also, special mention to all the women in Churels. I have to add, like all four of them was like, I still think about that show. Beth, did you get that chance to watch Churels? Or
no, and actually, I was again during the break trying to figure out, does that stream anywhere I can get it? And I'm not sure that it does, but I'd like to.
Yeah, I think you'd really like it. And I think probably also we don't get the chance to watch a lot of Pakistani content, and this one I can be proud about. It's like, Pakistani mangoes, at least something we can be proud of as a country, and everybody should have them. And you also had a runner-up, right? Amrita, did we go to you, or did I?
No, I'm the same as you and Beth, it's Triti Damri all the way.
Yeah. Let's not do runners-up because otherwise we're going to go so long. Yeah. Lead actor, your favorite. You had a pick, Beth, and then you deviated from that pick last minute.
Yeah. So I yesterday squeezed in a movie that I had been wanting to watch and fearing to watch, which was Angrezi Medium, because I had just decided I wasn't going to think about the fact that Irfan was gone, which is not a strategy I really recommend necessarily. But so yesterday I watched it, and it's not a good movie. I was very disappointed in particularly the second half, but he is brilliant. I mean, no surprise, and I love dad and daughter stories too. And it just, I was very, very moved by his performance, and I could isolate like any 10 seconds of it, and it's equally good. He does so many things in it. The fact that the plot is kind of all over and silly does provide him some comedy moments, which he's quite good at. And it's just, he's one of these people who can do so much by turning his face to one side or raising a hand, and it was spectacular. And I wish I could say I recommend people watch the movie for that. The movie really is very bad, but he really is phenomenal. And I'm so sorry he's gone.
He's got one more coming out, right? I saw a trailer of
good.
But something, his last movie. Amrita, what's been your favorite lead performance? By the way, we can go out of to streaming shows too. I think there's no rules in 2020, right? So, what was your kind of favorite Amrita male performance?
I really enjoyed Anil Kapoor, but I think I have to give it, even though it is a much shorter role, to Jayaram in the Tamil anthology that he did for Prime, because he's so good. Like he has the same quality that Anil has, where he can really have fun doing what it is that he's doing, and then convey the fact that he's having fun to the audience. And that's a real star trick that not a lot of people can really pull off, like successfully pull off. And I really enjoyed that.
Sujoy?
Well, I've got a list of actors like Anil Kapoor, very, very dependable, and I'm in awe of what he can pull off in a movie like AK versus AK. The usuals, which are like box standard, really great. Pankaj Tripathi in Ludo and Gunjan Saxena, Nawazuddin in Rata Ke Liye, Serious Men, Jaideep Ahlawat in Patal Lok. But I think the standout performance of this year was from the show Scam 1992. Harshad Mehta played by Pratik Gandhi. That was the performance of the year for me. He was great. He sold it. He did not mimic anything. He did not, put on a performance. It was just great performance.
I think for me this year was like really, for me, was about women, more in terms of content and delivery and performances and direction and stories and producing, even Anushka Sharma. Oh my god. So I feel like the male performances have not been that great, or not to speak of, maybe because there's no Khans, maybe there's no pretty people, but I mean there's and the ones that are there, I also haven't, I don't feel it's fair. Like Irfan, I feel, it's a posthumous award, but his movie necessarily wasn't that great. I've not watched it. Pankaj Tripathi was great in, Kargil, and he was great in Ludo, but both are, supporting roles. Nawaz is great in Raat Akeli Hai and in Serious Men, but I feel he's doing a bit of the same that he usually does. But the one that, when I was thinking about it, the one that I really think about is Jaideep Alawat in Patal Lok. Yeah. Because he gets so much to do in 10 episodes. It's a show I still think about a lot. And that's the one that really stood out for me. Okay, so I think movie and best soundtrack we've kind of done already when we did best bop. So let's just go into best movie and get it done. What's or show or whatever. What was kind of the best thing you watched this year. And I will go first, maybe because I'm gonna cheat. I had three. I had Thappad, I had Bulbul, and I had Chudels. Those are the kind of three ones. And I think clearly, as I just mentioned, a common theme is obviously that it's about women by women. Not by women, but funnily, none of these are... No, Bulbul was actually directed and written by a woman, but Thappad wasn't and Chudels wasn't. But they are about female stories, and I think when the year has kind of come around, those are the stories that have kind of really stood by me, I think. Also because they're visually so impressive, all of them. I still think about in Thappad, the scene she actually gets slapped, and how everything goes into slow-mo,
And silent.
And Chudel, so many different moments, the flashback sequences and, just the brutal sequences even, and everything of Bulbul, And for me, that's important, when you have... For me, prettiness is important. So I think beside the point that these were really good movies that had really hard-hitting themes, great performances, they looked amazing. So those are kind of my three picks. Sujoy, what about you? What were kind of your favorites?
I think Ludo features on my list of my favorite things to watch this year. Scam 1992 and Patal Lok were also really, really great streaming shows. But I do have a problem of short-term memory in some ways, that if the stuff that I've seen recently, that becomes my new favorite in a way. And maybe that's why I'm saying the thing that I'm saying. Ala Vaikunthapuramulu is probably my favorite thing of the year in some ways, because it feels like masala being done well, and I haven't seen something like this. I think it's just the year speaking to me. It's just great music, just a lot of masala stuff happening, and I miss that. I really miss that happening this year in Hindi cinema. And maybe that's why it's probably one of my favorites. Also, honorable mention to Loot Case. It didn't get much clout, or, it didn't get enough praise. It just landed on Hotstar, and because of Dil Bechara taking all of the screen space when it got released, But Loot Case is surprisingly very, very entertaining and funny. It's got Vijay Raz playing a gangster, which he's done in Delhi Belly as well. But he's a very funny gangster with, he's weirdly obsessed with National Geographic, and he, drops references to Latin names. It's really funny. And Kunal Khemu is really good. Those are my, the best things that I watched this year. Other than obviously Schitt's Creek.
Beth, what about you?
I had a hard time with this because although I didn't see a ton of things, a lot of them I thought were actually really good. But I think I'm going to give it to AK versus AK very unexpectedly. If you told me that like 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have believed you at all.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Well, we have our full review on the previous episode, so I don't think we need to get into more AK versus AK. Amrita.
So yeah, these are all like really great picks, and I considered most of them, the ones that I've seen anyway. But I think the one standout film for me this year has been Bulbul. Like, it's a movie that I've thought about again and again at various intervals, and that's quite a feat because I was trying not to think too much all throughout the year. So Bulbul just coming back to me, and like it just really made an impression.
Yeah. No, I get it, and I think it's been a theme throughout the year that we've not wanted to watch too much dark content or scary content or anything that, we wanted lightness, and that it's, Bulbul is still being mentioned so many times. It really shows how good that movie was, So, Anushka Sharma, come over. Let's have a chat. I will present you your award personally if you want, because wow, what a kind of like, production unit she set up. It's amazing. But yeah. Okay, I think we can start wrapping it up now, right? I think we did a good job. I don't think we forgot anything. Yeah, that was good. I'm happy with that. Beth, where can people find you online?
I am Beth Loves Bolly on Twitter.
Sujoy?
I am at 93K on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow us on Instagram at Khandaan Podcast as well. We've been nominated for the Best Entertainment Podcast at Ghana Podcast, so go and comment Khandaan on their Instagram post. The link will be in the show notes.
Yeah. I wonder what we win, though. Are we winning anything? Are we getting anything for it?
A shout out.
Shout out, yes. It's all about the shout out. Amrita.
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ, and also on my booktube at Amrita by the Book. And I'd actually forgotten to mention this, but Jayarjun Singh, who was on this podcast earlier, is running a course on Rishikesh Mukherjee, and there are multiple sessions across time zones, so people can participate no matter what their time zone is. And I think it's like 2 weekends or something. So check out his account, I guess, on Twitter for more details.
Yeah, I'll add it to the show notes so people can, find it. If you agree or disagree with our picks, drop us an email at youpodcasting@gmail.com. Apologies to the people that did recommend some shows to me. I didn't get around to it because, time has no meaning. But we appreciate the feedback. We always appreciate connecting with our listeners and our friends. If you want to connect with us, you can do that through Instagram, YouTube, subscribe to all of the streaming shows, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and all the other information will be in the show notes. And guys, thanks for listening. Wear your masks. Vaccine is coming, but it's not over. We're still in a pandemic. Please be safe. And so you can keep listening to us. We love it. So hopefully everybody can survive this year too. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for the first episode, and thank you, Beth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Khandaan Podcast on acting. Girl, you're my podcast.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that no period drama may escape the eagle eyes of Beth and Amrita. Two women united by a love of poofy shirts, magnificent headdresses, and hot, steamy love affairs. Binging Bridgerton together with so much to say, so much to note, so much to discuss.
Binging Bridgerton, a brand new limited edition podcast that dives deep into each of the 8 episodes of the Netflix show. Available on your preferred platform under the banner of You Podcast Main Event.
Binging Bridgerton with Beth and Amrita. Live now.
Dan, Saatva is the best mattress choice for us. After all, how could you go wrong with their risk-free 180-day in-home trial and 15-year warranty?
That does sound risk-free. Takes me back to some of our risk-free vacations.
You mean that rafting excursion you claimed to be risk-free but ended in a 4-story waterfall? Or the African safari that ended with a flat tire by the lion's den? Or the...
You know what? Let's just order our Saatva.
Get $200 off your purchase of $1,000 or more at saatva.com/200.